I'm just going to do a short review, and then we're going to have about a 45-minute yoga therapy class today to help you practice and embody everything that we've been covering. And then at the end, I want to give you time for questions, share your experiences, just kind of a way for me to check in with everybody. Just helps me know where you're at, and then I can elaborate from that if needed, or it gives me ideas of what to cover for the next time we gather. So we'll kind of end with that. So to review, we're talking about consciousness and energy, formless and form, and I've been using this like wave picture to kind of illustrate that. And these waves represent the linear world of form, and so there's your body, there's maybe a butterfly, there's maybe a tree is another form, and even thoughts and emotions are a type of form. But it all arises from this formless space of pure consciousness or pure awareness, and the first movements of consciousness begin to be created. You have these different layers of your being. They get more and more dense in yoga. This one's called the bliss layer, and you don't have to remember this, but it's the closest to source or the formless. And then you have a wisdom layer, but it's not necessarily wise because it's colored by your beliefs that are held in this very subtle layer where consciousness begins to move. So depending on your beliefs, the wisdom layer might or might not be so wise on any given situation, but it's where your intuition or your direct knowing comes from. And then we have a mental layer. So these layers in the NT are getting a little bit more dense. These are your thoughts that just run through the mind, and they're anywhere from a thought that you think is important to an emotion to just an arbitrary fleeting thought. And then it gets more dense, and you have the energy layer. So that's sensation, that's feeling, emotion can be part of this too. It's kind of a combination of these two. And then you have this physical layer. You've now come into form, and you're now visible. And so all of this is the movement of the formless coming into form. So in our practice, when I guide you through these yoga therapy experiences, hey Natalia, it's good to see you, welcome. You are witnessing, so I talk about just watching, observing, you're just being aware. That's connecting you to the formless down here. The part of you that's invisible that you can't see, but it's the one that reveals and sees. It's just aware. So the witness, observing and watching, connects you to the formless aspect of you. And then I guide you to feel sensation, because that's connecting you into the form that's expressed through energy. So that's connecting you to here. And then, so this is sensation. That's connecting you into the physical body and your energy. And then I also guide you to breathe. Because that's kind of like the bridge between the two. So, because in a lot of traditions, they'll even say you're not your body, you're not your thoughts, you're not your emotions, and that's true in a way, but it's to help you to disidentify from the ego, from this personalities, to disidentify from thinking of yourself as your thoughts, emotions, and body. It's not an absolute truth, because yes, you are not this, you're in consciousness, but the consciousness moved into form, right? So you're kind of both. You're both a form and you're formless. And so this combination of just observe and witness, breathe and feel sensation is like a way of coming into the totality of who you are, both formless and form. It also helps you be more present and in touch with reality, because what happens is we have these forms that come through our life, and then we have our personal beliefs about ourselves and about others that color our experience of these forms. So like in my example of the woman that had a belief that men leave her and can't be trusted, and so that belief, so her boyfriend comes home and says, I want to be with the guys. The reality is just the words, I want to go out with the guys. She creates a personal reality of, my boyfriend's leaving me. And then that belief eventually creates that reality, because he starts feeling suffocated and trapped. He can't ever go out with his friends. He can't ever leave her without her manipulating and doing stuff. So this recipe of watch, feel, and breathe helps remove our filter of beliefs so that we can experience these forms and experience reality as it is in the moment. And then these forms and reality help lead and connect us to the formless. So it works both ways with this particular practice of removing the beliefs so that you can free the energy and experience life as it is rather than what you think about life. And a lot of our beliefs are unconscious. And so this recipe helps bring them into consciousness, and it has you experience these different forms. They help you connect to the formless as you do it. And it helps connect you to the present moment, helps connect you to reality instead of your personal belief about something. So I know, so that's kind of like a review in a nutshell of the stuff we've talked about the past couple weeks, and I do recognize it can be kind of some heavy stuff. It kind of can be a lot to digest, which is also why I think it's nice that these are on video and you can listen to them over and over. And it's not like just believe me. In the different practices, like the yoga therapy class we're about to do, it helps you have an embodied experience of the teaching, so that it is through your practice of doing yoga nidras or consciously listening to someone, and these other little practices that I suggest you do. It's through these practices that the concept becomes more and more realized, as opposed to just hearing an interesting lecture that really won't do anything for you. All this does is point you in a right direction for you to explore for yourself and for you to know for yourself. Does that make sense? So the practice is really important. Okay, so let's just go into the yoga therapy experience, and then we'll have time for questions and answers and sharing, and how your experience has been, throughout these weeks and all of that. So, but I think after having the practice will be a good time to do the questions. So we're not using a wall, so you can just spread your mat out, or wherever there's room. It can be in circle formation. We've got some extra room over there in that corner. You might have room just right where you are.